Okay, before we start, just want to say if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 100 subscribers before the end of the year. We know it's a tall task. We know it's unlikely, but shoot for the stars, baby. Follow up on Twitter at Bias Slightly. My co-host Twitter, who cannot join us tonight, unfortunately, is Brett. Brett with 3 T's. McClung. Follow both of those Twitter handles. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know the drill. Okay, see ya. Enjoy the video. Okay, what's going on, everybody? The Thursday night football game just finished. The Ravens took care of business, beating the Jets 42-21. I'm going to talk about it real quickly, just going to go over some things. Obviously, as you can tell, my co-host Brett is not here. He couldn't hop on tonight, so I am taking the duties over myself. So if you're one of the people who tune in just for Brett, I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's just going to be me, okay? Sorry. Let's see. First and foremost, the Ravens with the win, they clinch the AFC North. I keep on doing that shit. I don't know why. They clinched the AFC North with a record of 12-2. I mean, it was only a matter of time. We knew they were going to win the division, but I think more importantly, they look like, a pretty safe bet to finish as the number 1 seed in the AFC. And we kind of talked about on the pregame show today that, the Patriots, they really don't look that impressive. But anytime you can go, you want to avoid going to Foxborough in January with the chance to go to the Super Bowl. Regardless of how the Patriots look now, we know when it's time to play in February in the playoffs, they're going to bring it no matter what. So if you can avoid going to Foxborough, that's going to be huge. And at 12-2, the Ravens look like a pretty safe bet. Who do they play the rest of the season? I know they play the Browns one more time. And do they play the Steelers again? All right, so they got the Browns and the Steelers. I think they can clinch the 1 seed next week, and that'd obviously be huge for them to sit Lamar, sit some of their guys. Some other things to note before we really get into the game. Lamar ties the Ravens franchise record in passing touchdowns. I believe it was either 33 or 36. It's one of those two numbers. I don't remember which one it was. So shout out to him. He had 5 touchdowns tonight. Dude pretty much locked up the MVP, I'd have to say. And also, he broke Michael Vick's single-season rushing record for a quarterback. We knew that was coming. He was only 20 yards away. I think he got it on his 3rd carry of the game. So shout out to Lamar. The Ravens, man, 218 yards on the ground. And I know we like to shit on the Jets, make fun of the Jets, LOL Jets, but coming into this game, this was the 2nd best run defense in football. And, the Ravens did whatever they wanted. 218 yards on the ground, 6.4 yards per carry. Lamar had 86 yards on 10 rushes. Mark Ingram, 76 yards on 13 rushes. Gus Edwards, 35 yards on 5 rushes. I think this was the whole entire gist of tonight's game was they were just so efficient. Seems like every play they ran worked. And the Jets, I know the score looks bad, 42-21. I'm gonna go more into depth about the Ravens here in a second, but I know that the score looks bad for the Jets, but I gotta be honest, man. I thought they did some things well. I really did. I didn't leave this game, laughing at the Jets thinking they played like shit. I really think that they played a decently solid game. That they got off to a bit of a slow start, which was ironic because I don't remember who the fuck it was, but someone was talking before the game about how the Jets said that they were going to come out hot. They wanted to keep the ball out of Lamar's hand, and they went like 3 and out to start the game. And then the Ravens marched downfield and scored a touchdown. Then the Jets returned. The Jets got the ball back, went downfield, missed a field goal on one of the worst kicks I've ever seen. It was tipped, but that's anytime you don't get the ball far enough, that's an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. It's just like, dude, I'm really pissed off at my fucking parents for not having me out on the field kicking field goals every day because I'd be in the NFL right now because the kicking is just terrible. Sam Ficken is terrible. But I think he's like 50% on the year on longer than 40 yards. I think it's actually worse than that. I think he's 6 for 13 on kicks further than 40 yards. How are you still in the league? God damn. Kicking is so bad. It's really frustrating to watch. But, the Jets, they just couldn't take advantage. I thought early in the first half, and for most of the first half, they were moving the ball really well. And that shocked me. I mentioned they missed a field goal. They were able to drive downfield, and it resulted in a missed field goal. The Ravens go down and score. It's a 13-0 game. The Jets come back, and they march downfield and score. Sam Darnold threw a pass to Jamison Crowder. Crowder drops a wide-open touchdown, and then the very next play makes some crazy contested foot drag touchdown in the corner of the end zone. Crowder had a nice game. So makes the score 7-13. And then, of course, the Ravens march downfield and score a touchdown. They scored a touchdown on each of their first 3 drives. And then the Jets get the ball back. They march downfield once again, and they go for it on 4th down. And I like the Ravens' 15-yard line, and they can't get it. That was kind of the gist of most of the night for the Jets. these short yardage situations, man. They're terrible. Terrible. They went 0 for 2 on 4th down. Both times they tried to pass it and it didn't work. I mean, Darnold was running for his damn life, dude. This offensive line is just terrible. He was only sacked once, but I mean, the Ravens were getting pressure on him all night long, obviously making him super uncomfortable. You know, I'm looking at the numbers right here. Le'Veon, 87 yards. That shocks me because watching the game, it felt like they could not get him going. At least they gave the ball to him 21 times. Targeted him only twice in the passing game. That's the frustrating part for me is you've seen, I mean, you don't have to look very far to see what Le'Veon can do in the passing game. Just go and look at tape from the Steelers 2 seasons ago and what they were doing with him, lining him up in the slot, lining him up outside. I think one of his catches, he was lined up outside, actually. But it's just like, dude, can we get Le'Veon going in the pass game? That's like, what's the big deal here? Why is Adam Gase incapable of doing anything with Le'Veon Bell? If I'm a Jets fan, I'm hoping that Gase has 2 games left as a member of the New York Jets coaching staff before he fucks off somewhere. You know, if you look at the score, 42-21, you think, wow, the Jets just got ran all over defensively. And yeah, you know, in a way they did. The Ravens had 430 total yards, 218 on the ground. But there were some moments where I really thought that their defense played well. Obviously, you're going up against the best offense in the league. And this is why I think the Ravens are so goddamn good, is they play their game of football, and they do not care what your track record is. They do not care the situation. They do not care how good of a defense you have. They're going to do whatever it is that they do. As I mentioned earlier, the Jets have the number 2 run defense heading into this week. And the Ravens just ran all over them. This is what makes them so good. This offensive line is so good. I think I mentioned this on last week's episode, that this is why I think the Ravens are so good. And this is why I think that they're a Super Bowl favorite right now. And that's because their offensive line. Lamar's great. Lamar's playing really well. Mark Ingram's playing really well. Their defense has played insane over the past couple of weeks. But, dude, whenever you can protect a quarterback like this, I mean, Lamar was sacked 1 time. And it wasn't like a big sack or anything. I think it was a sack for like 1 or 2 yards. But he had all day to throw. He only dropped back to pass 23 times. And he was in a clean pocket the entire time. They had lanes to run. It's just so dangerous, man. When you have a quarterback who can move like this, and he gets all the time in the world. Not only does he get all the time in the world, but he gets a ton of room to run. Same with Mark Ingram. This is what makes them so deadly. This is what makes them so good. Obviously, Darnold, I know I'm bouncing around a little bit here, but I'm just looking at some shit here. Darnold, I thought that he played well. He made some good throws. That interception he threw, though, I mean, I don't know what in the fuck he was looking at. Threw it to like 3 dudes. Even there might have been I think he was throwing it to his tight end. It wasn't Griffin. It was some other dude. I think that was it Daniel Brown? I think it was Daniel Brown he was throwing the ball to. I think Brown might have ran the wrong route, but even if he did run the wrong route, I have zero fucking idea what Darnold was seeing when he threw that pass. You know, this is the Jets team. I mean, they're not good. They're 5-9. I thought they played competitively, though. Truth be told, I really did. Lamar Jackson, I mean, hand him the MVP now. Sorry, Russ. It's over. The MVP race just ended. Lamar Jackson, 5 touchdowns. It felt so effortless, too. Like, it really felt so effortless. And he you know, might be an unpopular opinion. I thought he was missing a bunch of throws tonight. There's at least 3 or 4 throws that I can remember that he just flat out missed. There was one play. Oh, my fucking God, dude. I'm in the semifinals of my fantasy league, and the guy I'm playing has Mark Andrews, and there was one play, I think it was in the 3rd quarter, where he had Mark Andrews just wide open. It would have been a walk-in 70-yard touchdown, and he missed him pretty bad. Oh, my God. I was thrilled. Of course, Mark Andrews did score a touchdown. It was a really weird sequence. They threw the ball to Mark Andrews originally. He scored, and then they called a super late penalty. Like, I've never seen a penalty this late. I think it was an illegal formation penalty. The Ravens were celebrating. They were already on the sidelines. They had the field goal unit out, and then they called the penalty, and the offense had to come back on. I've never seen some shit like that. And then, of course, you know, I'm happy. I'm like, okay, thank God Mark Andrews didn't score a touchdown. Of course, they throw it to him again, and he gets a touchdown like 2 plays later. So, fucking cool. Oh, God, speaking of officiating, it really wouldn't be a primetime football game if there weren't botched officiating moments, would there? I know it was late in the game. I think the score is 35-7 at this point or something like that. There was a punt that hit off of the Jets were punting the ball. The ball very clearly very clearly hit off a Ravens player, number 41. I don't know who that is. Very clearly hits off him. And when they showed, because the play happened live and the Jets were running the ball, they said it was touched. They showed an initial replay where the angle was behind the Ravens player, and you really couldn't tell. And then they came back from break and then showed this replay that I'm showing on the screen now, this side angle, and the ball very clearly hits a shoulder pad. You can really see a shoulder pad moving. You can see the ball change directions a little bit. They're reviewing this. Keep in mind, these dumbass officials are reviewing this, and I get the officials on the field don't have a say when they go to review the plays. Do they actually? Am I thinking of baseball? I don't think they do. I'm talking out of my ass. But anyways, the ball very clearly hits a shoulder pad. They come back and say, oh, no, the ruling on the field stands. Like, good God, man. Can we get some competent officiating, please? Can we go one game without some horrible fuck-up? And funny enough, like the Ravens go 3 and out, I think, on that drive, and then they go back to punt the ball, and the Jets block the punt and return it for a touchdown. So it's kind of like a ball don't lie moment. But do I have anything else? I took notes down. I haven't looked at them at all. I don't think I have anything else that I really want to say about this game. The Ravens, they took care of business. This is kind of what I figured would happen. I think the spread of this game was 16. Obviously, the Ravens covered, but I was nowhere near comfortable enough to make that and to be comfortable making a bet on that spread. That's way too many points. And, this team, dude, really, they're fun to watch. It's just so fun. And this really makes me miss the Cowboys of old, like the 2016, 2014 Cowboys that would just run the ball down your throats. Obviously, it was a different style of running. This is a more kind of a college-oriented offense where they're running options, they're running out of the pistol, all of this shit. And the Cowboys is more of just a fucking pound it down your throat. And the Cowboys used to do the same thing the Ravens are doing now, where they would just do it at will, except the difference is the Ravens have a good defense and a good coach. And the Cowboys don't have either of those things. Or a good run offense anymore. I mean, the Cowboys are just a joke. I really try not to talk about the Cowboys on here. But yeah, 42-21 is the final score. Jets get blown out. Still think they played well. I got to be honest. I really do still think they played well. I know it's weird to say that in a 21-point game. And again, that was 35-7 at one point. But hey, the Ravens went 2 and 8 on third downs. 1 for 1 on fourth downs. There's a moment late in the game where they had the ball like their own 29-yard line, 4th and 1. Lamar's telling Harbaugh, fuck you. I think the punt unit was about to run onto the field, and Lamar's like, no. And everyone in the stadium thinks they're going to run it, but they end up going deep to Mark Andrews for like a 40-yard gain. This team is fun to watch right now. They're clicking, they're rolling. 10 straight wins for the Ravens. Number 1 seed in the AFC. I don't want to say all but locked up because anything can happen any given Sunday. We know that. But, I mean, they're taking care of business. And they are going to be deadly in the playoffs because, like I said, man, they dictate the games. They are going to run the ball. That's what they do. Everyone knows it's what they do. And they're going to come out and do it anyway. And their defense is balling out of control right now, too. Yeah. That's all I got. Okay? We're releasing the rest of our picks tomorrow. We recorded it a little bit late today, so it didn't come out at its usual time. And I just decided, fuck it. We'll just upload it tomorrow. So our picks for all of the Sunday games, the Monday night game, they will be coming out tomorrow morning. So make sure you stay tuned for that. It's a bad week of games, man. It really is. Like what we saw tonight's probably going to be what most of the games look like because it's just a bunch of really good teams playing bad teams or really bad teams playing bad teams. It's really the best matchups, I think, are Cowboys-Rams. That's a decent game. I think the only reason why I'm even saying that is because I'm a Cowboys fan because I think neutral people probably don't give a fuck about that game. The Bills-Steelers is a good game. A lot of implications, playoff implications there. What's the other good one? Oh, Texans-Titans. That's must-watch. I know a lot of people do not give a shit about either of those teams, but the Titans are a really fun team to watch right now. The Texans, you don't know what you're going to get out of them. They could put up 50 points one week or they can get blown out by the Broncos. So you don't know what Texans team are going to get. That's going to be a fun game. I think that's pretty much it. Like, all the games are terrible. Well, that's all I got. I'm rambling at this point. Brett will be back next time we're on. So sorry that it was just me and my ugly ass face. Okay, I don't have anything else to say.